Greetings, my people, children of the sun. I come in peace. Yeah, I'm Brian El Ra. Journey with me to the world beyond excitement. Emotep family. Ankh Uja Seneb. I like to praise the ancestors for a minute and thank them for allowing me to deliver this message. Okay, in this lecture, I'm going to be going into the depths of brainwashing, racism, and religion that was forced upon our people that deceived us and enslaved us for over 400 years. Okay, and this is crucial for people to know. And this is at the horse's mouth. So I'm going to be showing you some videos that exposes what they have done to us right at the horse's mouth. You know, and this is crucial for us to know. So follow me, journey with me as I take you deep into the rabbit hole.
As you will, you mentioned that white people who classify themselves as white are aware, they know what has been done, what they have done over the years to non-white people. And there are two particular areas of activity that appear to be critical to maintaining the system of racism, white supremacy. These are activities that people all over the planet engage in. And the first one is religion. So can you talk specifically about what white persons have done to or taught non-white people in the area of religion in the context of racism?
You're wanting it to be to where I can't ever go home. That's it. Christianity has been misused for hundreds of years to keep your people in subjugation. And I'm speaking now a reality that the history books do not record, but history does. Christianity was used because if I said, okay, you don't believe the way I believe, and Christianity is the best way to believe, so I'm going to take you, and it's going to be for your own good, honey. It's going to be for your own good. I'm going to take you, and I'm going to tear away everything about you, and just keep your hands and your feet, because they can help me getting off. But I'm going to do this for your own good, because I'm going to give you a God. Now, what does that God look like? The reality of it is when he came here, he didn't look like me. So what am I going to do about that? I'm going to make him look like me. So for hundreds of years, we've been telling you, and now you have to keep in mind that we took away any other God that you might have through force, through fear, through pain, through any means necessary. So now I'm going to give you a God, but I'm going to do that in a way that is going to further me. So I'm going to give you a God that looks like me, so that when you bow down to that God, you're bowing down to me. Because the reality is, and see, this is something that that bothered me when I left the church out of frustration because I wasn't hearing these things. Because the Bible tells us what Jesus looked like when he walked here. The Bible tells us what he's going to look like when he comes back. We have taken that and changed it. One of my grandchildren, when he was about 8 years old, I have a black nativity in my home that I put out at Christmas. And he had been there several times, and all of a sudden one day he brings me the baby Jesus. And he says, "Mama, this is not right." And I said, "What's not right?" He said, "This is not right, Mama." Now this is a child that every time he's with me, he gets lessons in this. My son says to the point to where he has to deprogram them when he gets them back home. This child knows where my heart is. This child, but this is not right, Mama. What's wrong? Tell me. Jesus wasn't black. Jesus was white. Who told you that? And then we have this great conversation. I tell them it's not something you have to go back and fight. You don't have to go, because I don't want them beaten down until they're strong enough to know for what they believe, you know. But I want him to know the truth. I said, in your mind, in your heart, know. Do you remember when Jesus went to Egypt? He hid in Egypt. The people in Egypt, honey, they're not white people. How could he hide that? See, so that we've done that. We've given your people a God that looks like me so that you don't have any qualm about bowing down to me. See, because this is the image of God. I don't know of any sin that we've committed that's greater than that one. And we did it with the Bible in our hands when we were beating your ancestors for looking at us eye to eye. And we're quoting to them from this scripture. Even if we allowed them to have their own ministers, which there wasn't many of because we didn't allow them to read. But if we said, okay, you can have your church. This is my plantation. I'm going to do what I want with it. You can have your church. But then spies were sent. And those spies would stand outside the church, and that man would be beaten, perhaps killed, if he preached anything other than 3 sermons. And those 3 sermons were turn the other cheek, obey your master, and it's going to get better one of these days. God's going to take care of all of it. You're going to be in a happy, happy land. So put up with what you're putting up with now. And we made your people preach that to your people. And it's still being done. It's still being done. Those are the sermons that your people hear. Those sermons are what causes your people to comfort me when I do something that's wrong. We've taken Christianity in the same way the Klan has taken.
Yeah, that was a very interesting video, straight from the horse's mouth. See, Christianity was forced upon us. Christianity came from the very source of our principles from Heru. Heru had the same story as Christ, the Son, being born of a virgin birth on the day of December the 25th. See, we need to research what we've been taught mentally because we're brainwashed. Our mind is Europeanized. And we need to research, go back to the African culture. Go back to the African culture and research what you've read because you've been living a lie. Just like Santa Claus is a myth, is a lie. We all know Santa Claus is a lie. Just like the Easter Bunny. What Easter Bunny, what rabbit lays chocolate eggs? What rabbit lays eggs, period? See, we need to research and stop following, in the brainwash system. Don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. That's what we need to stop doing. And research, because the information is there. The ancestors have brought the knowledge back to us so we can investigate, do our research, and know the truth. And once you know thyself, you'll know the truth. Racism, it still exists to this day. And we still in church praying to something that we think that's in the sky. And truthfully, it's in us. So I'm going to play you another video to break down the story of the so-called Bible.
But it was a God manufactured by the historiographers who gave us these eponymous people in the first place. Now, why do that? Because if you make up a lie and give it to a people to believe in, they'll never get the results that they're looking for. They're believing a lie. They don't know they believe in a lie, though. Am I making sense, people? All religions, as I stated, are based on the life, deeds, and events of people who never historically existed. Adam. Now that writes out the three major religions right there. That's right. Because Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. And notice how the order I named them in. Okay? Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. Judaism is, believe it or not, the last one of the three. We've been taught it's the first one because we've been reading the Old Testament. No, they wrote themselves back into history. That's how that goes. Okay, you need to understand that. It's always easy to write in reverse. Adam never existed. Noah never existed. Abraham never existed. And I don't have, anybody in here got a Bible with them? Nobody brought a Bible, huh? You got a Bible, brother? Good. Good. What version you got there, man? King James. Come on, brother. That's really the way to say it. Sweet James, right? Brother, do me a favor. I need you to help me since you have your Bible. If you will, turn to Galatians. The 4th chapter of Galatians. Now, see, usually when I talk this verse, I have a Bible and I read it. And usually when I read this, those who are Christians say, I want to see that in my Bible. Okay, so he has his Bible, Galatians the 4th chapter, verse 22. What does it say, please? Nice and loud.
For it is written that...
Stop right there. Stop. Slow down. Slow down. Notice what it says. It says, it is written. It didn't say it's true.
That's right.
It says, for it is written.
That's what it said.
What else, brother? That
It is written that Abraham had two sons.
Abraham had two sons. Now, I don't know how many of y'all know this story out of the biblical text. Abraham had a son. His oldest son, according to the biblical text, was Ishmael. All right? Who was the son of the Egyptian woman Hagar. Right? And then he had another son 14 years later whose name was Isaac. All right? Who was the son of his so-called wife Sarah. Okay? Now, one of the things I'm still trying to figure this one out. And that is, how is it Abraham, who we've been taught was a Hebrew, had sex with an Egyptian and gave birth to an Arab? I'm still trying to put that one together. Because all the Arabs will tell you that they are the children of Ishmael. That's what they say. Okay? Go ahead, brother, read on.
The one by bondmaid.
The one by bondmaid, which was Hagar the Egyptian. Go ahead.
The other by a free woman.
The other by a free woman, which was Sarah, right? Go ahead.
But he who was of the bondwoman was born after the flesh.
That was Ishmael. He was born out of sin, in other words, because God didn't promise this one. God promised the other one, according to the Jews. Go ahead.
But he of the free woman was by promise.
But he of the free woman, meaning Sarah and Isaac, was a promise. Now, this brother's getting ready to read a phrase that I'm sure was never brought to his attention before. And it probably wasn't brought to a lot of y'all's attention. What is the first few words in the 24th verse, brother?
Which things are an allegory.
Thank you. In case y'all didn't hear it. It said, which things are an allegory. In case y'all don't know what an allegory is, an allegory means it's not a true story. It's not a real event. It's a story that was made up. It was an illustration that was created to make a point. In other words, according to their own Bible, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Ishmael, Hagar, Sarah, it's all an allegory. It never happened historically. Now, if Abraham never historically lived, then that means Isaac wasn't real. If Isaac wasn't real, Jacob wasn't real.
That's right.
And if Jacob wasn't real, let's run up the line.
That's right. That's right.
The so-called tribes of Israel wasn't real.
That's right.
The line from the tribe of Judah wasn't real.
Right.
It's all allegory. Now, I didn't put that in that book. You don't like it? Take it out. Tear your page off. I don't care. They ain't gonna change it. It's an allegory. Every culture got their stories. Moses, Jesus, Muhammad, Krishna, Buddha, Quetzalcoatl, in case you haven't heard of him, Quetzalcoatl is the savior, the ancient Mexican savior. Mithra of Persia.
Yeah, that was a good message by Brother Ray Higgins. Ray Higgins. Yeah, so that put an end to the Bible myth. And he got this challenge going on that if you can prove any characters in the Bible that they existed, he'll pay your life expenses for the rest of your life. Well, I want to make that same challenge. If you can prove that any characters in the Bible that existed, I'll pay your rent for the rest of your life. Because Moses never existed. Israel. Now break that down into 3 parts. Is-Ra-El. ISIS. That's where the I-S come from. Ra. We know Ra is from the sun. El. And that was the Sumerian word. So there's 3 gods. See, so Israel, it's always that Ra in there, because that's where our power comes from. Ra is in us. Ra is the sun. See, we got to know this, you know. So, that's it for now. I'm going to wrap up this video, you know. But do your research. Do your research on African culture. You know, get rid of that Bible, because it's only a distraction. Go back to the principles, the 42 principles of Mayat, the laws of Mayat. Google that. Go to YouTube and look at that, the laws, and you will find that the 10 Commandments come from the laws of Mayat.